Welcome back to Water Level. Today's report focuses on the latest data from Lake Mead and Lake Powell as we begin the 2026 water year. The numbers show a clear difference between the two reservoirs. Lake Powell continues to lose elevation, while Lake Mead starts slightly higher than its recent low. Both remain far below their historical averages, but the trends tell two different stories about how water is moving through the Colorado River system this month. Lake Powell's most recent reading shows an elevation of 3,544.42 feet. The reservoir now sits 155.58 feet below full pool, which is 3,700 feet. In terms of content, it is holding only about 27.68% of capacity, containing just over 2 trillion gallons of water. The depth at the Glen Canyon Dam is currently 412.42 feet, a reminder of how much volume the lake has lost over the past several years. For the first few days of the 2026 water year, total inflows have reached about 47,800 acre-feet, while total releases through the dam are around 64,200 acre-feet. That means Powell is already losing storage, with outflows exceeding inflows by roughly 17,000 acre-feet. Compared to this same time last year, Lake Powell's surface elevation is down 33.39 feet. The chart of the past 12 months shows a steady decline through the winter and spring, a short-lived rise in June, and then another gradual fall through the late summer into October. That small peak early in the summer was the result of upstream snowmelt inflows, but it wasn't enough to slow the broader drawdown. The data also indicates that the 34 upstream reservoirs feeding Powell are about 68% of their usual October inflow average, and the rivers entering the lake are currently flowing at just 62% of normal. Even with upstream snowpack and moisture slightly above average for this time of year, the inflows are not enough to replenish the massive storage loss. The continuing decline of Lake Powell doesn't just affect the lake itself. As the water level drops, it also reduces hydropower efficiency at Glen Canyon Dam. The turbines depend on the weight and pressure of the water above them to produce electricity, so every few feet of decline means slightly less energy output for millions of homes across the region. At the current elevation, power generation continues, but under less favorable conditions. It's a delicate balance between meeting downstream water obligations and maintaining enough head pressure for power production. Lake Mead, meanwhile, presents a different situation. As of October 4, 2025, its elevation is 1,057.90 feet, about 161.7 feet below its full pool of 1,219.6 feet. The reservoir is 31.94% full, which means it holds roughly one-third of its design capacity. Compared to 1 year ago, Lake Mead is down about 5.94 feet, but there's a small positive note. It's actually 0.47 feet above its recent low. That slight rise suggests inflows have been outpacing outflows in the early days of this new water year. The inflow data supports that observation. Lake Mead has received about 82,400 acre-feet of inflows so far in water year 2026, while Hoover Dam has released roughly 22,500 acre-feet. That's a healthy balance. Inflows are currently running at about 132% of the early October average, showing a bit of strength from the upstream flow system. Still, even with that increase, total water storage in Mead has dropped by around 447,000 acre-feet since the start of the water year, reminding us that other factors such as evaporation, temperature, and basin use play major roles in the lake's storage behavior. The 12-month curve for Lake Mead shows a familiar seasonal rhythm. Levels dropped through early winter, climbed gradually into February and March, then declined again through the long summer drawdown. Over the past few weeks, the lake has begun to stabilize and rise slightly, signaling that inflows are again balancing or exceeding releases. Hoover Dam's current discharge rate is just 0.25% of the annual minimum requirement, allowing Mead to retain more water at the start of the year. This restrained release is likely helping keep the reservoir stable, while Powell continues to drop upstream. When comparing the two lakes together, the differences become clear. Powell continues to show a sharp decline, losing more than 33 feet in a year, while Mead has experienced a smaller drop and even a minor rebound in early October. That contrast reflects how water is being managed between the upper and lower basins of the Colorado River. Powell's drawdown supports deliveries downstream, and Mead benefits slightly when releases are reduced. However, both lakes remain far from healthy levels, with less than one-third of their total capacity available. The current basin conditions show snowpack at about 115% of average and precipitation at roughly 114% of normal. Those numbers look encouraging, but it often takes months before that snow and rainfall translate into measurable changes in the major reservoirs. As winter approaches, the inflow and release patterns will determine whether either lake can recover or whether the declines continue into 2026. Every foot of elevation change matters, not only for storage, but also for regional power generation and water supply operations that depend on these reservoirs. Both reservoirs are entering the new water year under tight management and close observation. Lake Powell starts at 3,544.42 feet, deeply below full pool and trending downward. Lake Mead begins at 1,057.90 feet, near its recent low, but showing slight improvement. These early numbers will guide water managers as they balance upstream and downstream needs over the coming months. For now, the message is one of cautious stability for Mead and continuing decline for Powell. Thank you for watching this update on the latest Lake Mead and Lake Powell water levels. Make sure to subscribe to Water Level for daily tracking of the data, elevation changes, and detailed analysis of what's happening across the Southwest's most important reservoirs. Each new reading tells a story about how water moves, how much is being stored, and what it means for the months ahead. Stay tuned for the next report.